Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Sean Kelly on Into the Night with Sean Kelly. So that's the name of the show. We are listen through 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3. Joe, what's the name of that place? Harrison?
Harrison County. Yeah. Oh wait, what is it? It's Harrison County, Mississippi.
Harrison County, Mississippi.
Sorry, we're in Henderson Point. I apologize.
Henderson Point. Hey, Anthony, good to see you, buddy. How you doing? Good to see you, pal. I'm looking forward to hearing your story about when you go to the forest, bro. All right. Well, welcome everybody to my show. Um, and guess what? It's almost St. Patrick's Day. Okay. And of course, everyone's gonna go out and get drunk, wear greens. You'll make it back, Anthony. Don't even go there. You'll make it back. But you're all dressed up, wearing green, going to probably take Friday off, you know, go to the different pubs or bars or wherever your local hangout that you go to. And you're going to start singing Irish songs and Irish bar songs and just living it up. And you know what? That's okay. Unfortunately for me, this Irishman here, I have to work. I got to work 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. By that time, I'm too tired anyway. I just don't want to celebrate. But Pittsburgh had their St. Patrick's Day parade this past Saturday, and it was cold. It was really, really cold. Now, I don't know where you all live, okay, but I know in Pittsburgh, whenever it comes down to the St. Patrick's Day parade, it is cold. It's cold or is it snow? Never had a good day, but that doesn't stop our people from marching to the parade. And it's been so long since I've seen one. And I remember going down into Pittsburgh and checking them out. My mom would take us down with my cousins and my aunt, and we'd just sit there on the corner and just watch the parade go by. What's really cool for me about, the St. Patrick's Day parade is they have like a kennel of Irish wolfhounds. Those are so gorgeous. I mean, honest to God. But you know what? They're like kind of too big for me. So I couldn't handle it. Hey, Michael, good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. And so, of course, at the St. Patrick's Day parade, they close off Market Square. And then everybody just sits in Market Square, and then you all get drunk and stuff like that. And but that's what we've been doing for a long time, as long as I've known. You know, they say luck of the Irish. And is it lucky? What is the luck of the Irish? What came up with that saying, luck of the Irish? But before I go on with my show, I have to conclude my story from last week about the aliens, Gizmo and Gizmo Jr. And as you know, they went into Earth and they sat on top of a building, and then they went home. And so I tried to start to do a chapter 2 of Gizmo. What do aliens think about us? And I really couldn't come up with one. So that's the end of the story, what I said last week. I couldn't come up with a chapter 2. So will we ever know if the aliens do say pretty crappy stuff? Are you taking calls tonight? I have to ask my producer, Joe. Joe, you taking calls tonight? I don't do calls, Mike. Sorry about that. Um, so it's like there is no ending. There is an ending. We won't know until we find out, and maybe we could sit down and have peace with them. But you know what? Back to St. Patrick's Day. Okay, no worries, buddy. Okay. Um, but back to what is the luck of the Irish? You hear it all the time. Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. I got a story behind that. Um, and there's no luck. Is it because of the four green clovers that the Irish people brought over from Ireland with? Where did it start? Oh, the parades? Lord, oh my God, dude, I don't know. I think back, and I don't have an answer for you because I really didn't go that far. But I know Chicago has a parade, and I know Boston has a parade, and I know in Chicago, oh, well, I'm getting there, brother. I'm getting there. No, don't be sorry. It's okay. I'll get there. Um, I'm getting old, Michael. I'm 60 years old, so my brain isn't fast. Don't be sorry, please. Don't ever be sorry. But I noticed that in Chicago they throw the green dye in the rivers and stuff like. Oh, it's definitely. I would have to say it'd be pagan, yes, because you're also talking about leprechauns, four-leaf clovers, fairies. Um, there's a lot of elementals over in Ireland that the Irish people really do believe in, and then they brought it over. But you know what? The luck of the Irish, there wasn't no luck whenever, and and it wasn't. In fact, it was really really rude. They got treated like crap, or say shit, than they did. But as I was looking, yesterday when I was doing getting some notes, I didn't take these down, but do you know that the Irish in Ireland were sold into slavery? They were sold into slavery before they came to America. They were down around the Caribbean type of things, yes. And it was sad, most of the Irish women were called servants. I think if it's I got it written down here. I don't know. Maybe if I come up with it later, I'll tell you about it. And yes, I do believe that if I was not listening right, it was like in the 900s. Um, what really sealed the deal back in 1860 when it really got popular about the Irish slaves, which wasn't nice. So England had a problem with the Irish people, you know, and Cornwall um, had no problem at all selling the Irish people to be slaves. They were mistreated. They were like the scum of the earth over in Ireland. And Cornwall, and this is the way I'm looking at Cornwall. I can't really explain to it, but he was an ass because he couldn't deal with the Irish over there. And he knew there was soon to be, yes, that's true. That's why they fled to the States, bud. And so it's like Cornwall, he didn't like the Irish. So all of a sudden they got on the boat and he would sell them to the places down in the Caribbean. And, but eventually they started to make their way to America. And it was not a nice deal for them. Okay. I am going to be looking at my notes and I'm going to be reading from my notes and then we'll go from there. Okay. But how were the Irish treated in America in the 19th century? Pretty freaking shitty. Okay. They were treated like crap. And I could never figure out, everybody is like, hey, the Irish happy, be happy. They weren't freaking happy. Okay. The Irish culture was not welcomed here in America. And there's a term for the anti Irish prejudice, and it's called hibernophobia. It is commonly known as Irish need not apply. Okay. Um, and most of that, if you Google it about the Irish in the 1860s coming over for America, there's a lot of signs that Irish not need apply. If you spoke brogue, you were not welcome. Um, and these were like in advertisements for jobs. They crapped on the Irish. They didn't care about them. England didn't want them. America didn't want them. So the reason behind, one of the couple of reasons behind the reason why, the Americans really didn't do like the Irish is because um, they drank a lot. They were dirty. They didn't dress proper. But the big one was getting drunk. Okay. What else are you supposed to do? Now, if you look at that scenario in which I just told you, if you go to places in different cities, you'll see the same thing. Okay. Which I think is not true. You know, I don't like that idea of people being treated like that. So as I was, looking and doing, I like the word research because Jenny, who's my co-host on Chasing Prophecy, the show before this one, do your research, and that's why I did the research, and it just got, it seemed interesting. It's a sad, interesting thing though that my cousin, he's doing an ancestry DNA line of trees, I could say. And he's taken that all the way back. But how do I know that my ancestors were not part of the people that came over to America in the 19th century? I don't know the year, but 19th century. And the reason why the Irish came over to America is because they had the potato famine. The Irish relied a lot on the potato. That's how they ate. They grew a lot of potatoes. But what happened was there was a blight that overcame the potato fields or wherever the potatoes were and destroyed the potatoes. And when the potatoes were done, the Irish had nowhere to go. They had no money. And so they figure, okay, well, since this happened, maybe England will come in and give them some money, help them out. But England never did. Not at all. And so a lot of the Irish people were poor, homeless, didn't have no food to eat. And you call that luck of the Irish? Bullshit. Okay. So eventually, back in the 19th century, they did make their way over to America. But once when they landed in America, they had problems there too because, like I said before, the American people didn't want them in their land. They couldn't get a job. And the jobs that they got, okay, were cheap. They got paid cheap labor. They had no money. And where they lived at, I got that right here. Uh, what is it called? Okay. They lived in like tenements, you know? It's just like going and living in a house and you get one bedroom or one room and you got to do everything in there. There was no running water, there was no sewage, and they were treated like crap. And the luck of the Irish. I mean, if everyone goes around and says, you know what, the luck of the Irish, we wouldn't be here. We'd be in poverty. Now, I've had this argument with a lot of people. You know, my ancestry is from Ireland. Okay. So I considered myself an American Irish. And I believe that the people over in Ireland that came over are Irish Americans. And before I go on, you have to realize it wasn't so much the Irish people that got screwed over. It was the Chinese people. They got screwed over. All right. Different ethnics. I think the Italians, I'm not sure. But the Germans, I'm not sure. But I know that the Irish, got treated like crap. And so at the time, a lot of the jobs that were available were police departments, fire departments. Okay. And also, let's see, they were hired as ferrymen, boatmen, construction workers, canal and railroad workers. And the wage was as little as 87 cents a day. And that's $26 a month. And it's like, I know something cheaper than that would be, because I looked up the wage for labor in America at that time, and it was 10 cents a day or 10 cents an hour, something like that. I forget. But all they had was 87 cents. And what it came out to, I forget what it was called a day, 20, $26 a month. How in the hell are you supposed to live on $26 a month? You got a family, you got to get food, you got to get clothes. And while you're trying to do that, you're getting shit on by the Americans. Now, I'm not from the 18th or 19th century, so I don't know. I can't blame, I can't actually blame America for treating them like that. I don't know. I don't know how to accept that. Do I feel bad that they were sold into slavery? Yes, I am. That's not right. No one, I mean, freaking no one should ever be sold into slavery. But people didn't want to talk about this, you know, in this generation. No one want to talk about the Irish being slaves back then. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line on that? What is it, the reparations that's going on now? I want reparated because of the way I was treated and how my ancestors were sold into slavery. Now, I'm not knocking the African American people. I am not. Trust me. You've gone through your own stuff. You have gone through situations where, it's about the same as the Irish did. And I talked to a lot of my African American friends and I told them about how the Irish people were sold into slavery and they didn't believe it. They thought it wasn't true until I told them to Google what the Irish was in the 19th century. And then they came back to me and they're like stunned, you know. So it's over. It's done. The 18th century's over. 19th is over with. So all we got to is today. So all that crap going on when they come over to the States, and luck of the Irish? I think not. No, not at all. And I'm sure there are other ethnic groups out there that have experienced the same things as my people did. And I'm not ashamed to call them my people because they were my people. My grandfather, my great uncle, they came from Ireland. My mom, she's a dual citizen with Irish and with Ireland and America. Eventually, whenever I get the time, I would like to have a dual citizenship too. But I will always remain American in my heart because this is where I was born. But I also want to experience what it's like to be a person of Irish in Ireland. I know I said that wrong, but that's how I feel. I don't know how you all think, and before we go on, I want to tell you that I respect everybody's religion, everybody's faith. I respect everybody what they believe in. I'm just sharing my story with you. Now I might be, maybe I'll get a bad check mark, but that's okay because I'm allowed to because this is what America, freedom of speech. I got freedom of speech, so I'm speaking, you know, about the Irish. Now, we talked about the men that the immigrants that accepted the jobs as the ferrymen, boatmen, construction workers, canal and railroad workers. Now, the Irish women, okay, they worked as domestic servants. What they did was they were made to the people who had money. And they worked for, check this crap out, right? Check this out. And they worked for $4 to $8 a month. Now, I don't know what the money situation was back then. It might have been like the sure as hell wasn't rich. They sure as hell couldn't help their families out. Crazy, huh? It's crazy. Then, to me, the only lucky ones that actually survived, which, I'm not survived, but um, there it is, was the Union Army. And at the time, in 1860, 1861, there was a Civil War. So when the Irish men came over from Ireland, they automatically joined the Union Army and they went down south to fight the Civil War. The only good thing that came out of it, they got $13, was it $13 a month? But they had clothes, they had food in their stomach, and they had, other Irishmen to be with. So the Irish are really prominent in the Civil War, especially at Gettysburg, Antietam. I'll be the first one to admit, and I'll tell you, um, day two, July 2nd, 1863, in the wheat field, in the peach orchard, they got annihilated. They started out with 2,000 men, and I think only 500 survived. And then it not so much the Union Army, but the Southern Army also had Irish brigades too. And they were out of Georgia. Didn't get too far into that yet. because I was more interested in, Gettysburg. Antietam is where um, the Confederate Irishmen were at. So I'm gonna have to do another research. They were snipers, and they raised havoc. And you know, some of the stuff I did read at one time, or I'm not so much read, but I saw it on like a historical thing or whatever. But whenever the Union, the 68, 69 Fighting Irish, were attacking the Confederates, the boys from Ireland who were Confederates were actually crying because they didn't want to shoot their own brothers. So take it to this century, okay? Say like shit happens here in the States. Are we going to fire, or is the military going to fire upon us? Are they going to treat us like crap? Who knows? The time hasn't come yet. And I pray to God I'm dead when that time happens, to be honest with you. But that's where it happened basically with the Irish people when they came over here from Ireland. They either went to war or they fought on the streets, lived in squalor. I think I said that right. They didn't have no money. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure the Irish guys, they got paid, but they drank it all. They drank it all in one night. But still, this is America. And it should have been America back then. To where whoever came through Ellis Island should have been treated right. They should have. But again, I didn't live back then. So I don't know the whole story behind it. Now, a little story about the Fighting Irish. That was what, the 68th, 69th Regiment and the 72nd Pennsylvania. I think there was a couple more. I tell you what, if you can, if you want to, and if you're bored, Google the Fighting Irish, this Irish Brigade. That is an interesting story too. In fact, I'll tell you what, I got their tattoo on my arm, right there. That's their sign. And that up there, down here, is the Celtic Cross. That's their monument in Ireland, over in Gettysburg. But instead of having the numbers of the infantries, right, okay, I got my son's name in there, his initials. So yeah, but there's a really, really interesting story about that. Okay, there was a guy by the name of Father Colby. I don't know if anybody heard of him, but he is the priest that used to go along with the Union Army and give, they're in the middle of a battle fight and he's running up and down the lines giving everybody, their absolution before they die. But come July 2nd, 1863, right when the brigade was supposed to go into the wheat field in the peach orchard, he said a prayer and gave them all absolution before they went there. So they know when they die that, God will accept them. Okay. And there's a big painting of it. Just Google the painting. But you got all these our soldiers kneeling on one knee, and Father Colby's blessing them. But that's how he became very popular on July 2nd, 1863. But here's the deal, something. Father Colby, after the war, he went to Notre Dame, and he became, I do believe, the chancellor. He was involved with a lot of things over there at Notre Dame. But the thing was, they had no nickname. You know, you got Pitt Panthers, Penn State Nittany Lions, Ohio State Buckeyes. This was just Notre Dame. And then he came up, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. And how he came up with that name was at Gettysburg when the Irish Brigade, he called them the Fighting Irish. And that's how Notre Dame got their name. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I thought that was like so cool. That was like so sweet. It was pretty cool. Now, life for the Irish immigrant lived in slum tenements, lived in basements, no water or sanitation or daylight. Children took to begging, and like I said, men spent their money on alcohol. The Irish immigrant were not well liked and often treated badly. Okay, so think about it, right? There's this big war going on over in the United Kingdom between the Irish and the English, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, right? And the English hated the Irish people. So whenever they came in over to the States, there was a lot of wars. There was a lot of street fighting over religion. Okay, you had your Protestants, and then you had your Catholics. And whenever the Irish Catholics came over to America, they brought the religion with them. So it just didn't, start and finish over in England. No, it ended up coming over here. And it's sad to say that there's a ceasefire, or yeah, ceasefire going on up there. But and I can go into another story, and I can really get my anger up about this, but I just want to keep it on the download tonight. Everything over there in the United Kingdom was based off religion, the Catholics versus the Protestants. And soccer over there, or football, or rugby, it's called the Celtics versus the Rangers. And I went to a soccer game when I was in Scotland. It was the Celtics versus the Rangers. Oh my God, my virgin ears. The shit they were saying about God and the shit they were saying about the Queen. Oh my God, it was terrible. Fights everywhere. No lie. Oh my God, it was terrible. But they brought it. Did the Irish have a chance at all? I guess they did. Back then, probably not. How are their mind frames? The frame of their minds. What were they feeling? How did they look at life? Well, all I know is that I'm here talking to you now. And I got family that are still alive. And with my cousin's tree, it goes all the way back into Ireland a long time ago. Yes. So the reason why I'm here is for my people over in Ireland, my genealogy. Am I a proud Irishman? I am. I'm proud of my heritage. I really am. And that's me. And that's who I am. I'm proud of being Irish. And I'm sure whatever ethnic group you are, I pray and hope that you are proud to be a German, proud to be a Chinese, proud to be a Mexican, proud to be this, proud to be that. You have to show your pride. There's ignorant people out here now saying, no, you were born in America, so you're an American. No, my people are from the Ireland. Should I call myself an American Irishman, or should I call myself Irish American? It's only fair to, however I want to do it. But to me, the real response is I am an American Irish. Now, the things that they did bring over from Ireland, I have a couple of stuff, written down here. It says here, what did the Irish bring to America? They brought soda bread, four-leaf clovers, leprechauns, rainbows, and they were all signs for good luck. But they didn't have no freaking luck at all. It just seems like every time they made a turn, boom, they got down, knocked on their knees. But you know what? They got back up again and continued again, getting knocked down on their knees. But they made it. They kept going. But this luck of the Irish, I think it's like full of shit, to be honest with you. Because there's no luck. The way I look at luck, here's the way I look at luck. It was supposed to happen. And I firmly believe that there is no such things as coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. And you can give me the top scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, and I will never, ever change my mind on that. Everything happens for a reason. And there's everything that happened for a reason back in the 900s when they got sold into slavery. And then all that shit going on with England, with Cromwell and stuff like that. Coming over here and getting treated like shit. It's like they didn't have a prayer. They had no luck. No luck at all. But you know what? I'm here today. So I guess you can finally say that, yeah, they did have luck. I know I had luck with them being here, coming over. In conclusion, the Irish fought and survived to pave the way for the American Irish to flourish in America today. So Friday is St. Patrick's Day. And again, you're going to go out and get drunk. You're going to drink green beer, have green mashed potatoes, or whatever you do green. A couple things I would like to ask you to do, though. When you do go out, make a toast. Lift your beer, lift your whiskey, lift whatever in the hell you're drinking. Lift it up in the air. And toast the Irish that came over here. Trust them. Hey, to the Irish from the 1860s. Whatever. Toast. Make a toast. And just remember what their story went through. What they went through. Their story. Who knows? Is it still going on today with the slavery? Who knows? I don't know. But I know one thing, the Irish are hardcore. And they're not easily put down. And they will fight if they have to fight. Plus, they also tell good Irish jokes too. And it's crazy because when you go out Friday night, you're going to go to a bar, you're going to hear a guy play, Do you know Irish music is so damn depressing? It is. It's really depressing. There's maybe a couple good ones in there, but there's what is it? The Butcher Boy. Then you got oh god, Black the Black Velvet Band. Look these songs up. Now yesterday I turned on YouTube and I was listening. My mom had this album. It was called Tommy Macon and the Clancy Brothers live at Carnegie Hall, and it was back in 1963. Yeah, we're old. I was born in '62. But I listened to that whole album on YouTube, and they came up to a part, 12 minutes, um, where they sang children's songs. And they came up with the one, it's a carol over in Ireland. And it goes like this: up the long ladder and down the short road. The hell with King Billy and God bless the Pope. If that doesn't do, we'll tear him in two and send him to hell with the red, white, and blue. No offense to all my friends over there in England, because I got a good crowd over there. Nothing against you guys. This is, you know, Irish folk songs. But I can sit and listen to Irish songs, but they make me cry because they're so damn depressing. It really is. But there are also some good ones. So everybody, please, whatever you do, if you can, Friday night or Friday afternoon, please have a designated driver with you. Please don't bring your cars with you, and have a good time. If you need to dress green, dress the green. Deck out and have fun. Even though when the Irish came over in the 19th century, they didn't have fun, but they made it today. They made through it so we could have fun today. So God bless the Irish people. God bless everybody, you know. So less, I don't know. It just makes me feel proud to be Irish. So my whole thing is, did they have luck? Yes, they did. They finally got luck, and I'm here. My brother's here. My mom's here. My aunts, my uncles. So there was luck. Yes. It's getting pretty close to the ending here. Not quite yet, but I just hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Okay. Um, Next week I'm going to come up and start talking paranormal a little bit more. Okay. But I'm also going to throw different types of things in, like whatever comes in my mind. But I'll definitely throw some paranormal in there because it's paranormal. Children, if you can, please go up to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have no parents, if you don't have no children, please get somebody a friend, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Might freak them out, but just tell them that. And if somebody's really hurting, sit with them. You don't have to talk. You could hold their hand. Let them talk. Because everybody needs somebody in their life, especially going on today. And I'm not talking boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Somebody who's going through mental illness. Okay? So, Tommy Miller says, great show and so interesting to hear the stories you shared. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. There's so much more to this subject. Yes. And Anthony says, yes, tell someone that. You're awesome, my friend. And so are you, Tony, Anthony, and so are you. Thank you guys for listening. And so until next week, we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Oh, money that ever I spent it in good company, and all the harm that ever I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So farewell the parting last. Good night and joy be with you. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had, they are sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and should know, I'll gently ride and I'll softly call, good night and joy be with you. Good night. God bless. Safe home.
since we're still live,